Hi, folks. Emerson from Your Time Starts Now, a Taskmaster podcast here. Before we start today's episode, I would like to issue an apology, as my audio does not sound the best it has ever sounded before. I don't know what's happened. I don't know what caused it, but I'll do my best to make sure it doesn't happen again. No promises, though. And I would also like to apologize for a weird humming that you might hear at some points during my audio clips. Again, I don't know what's caused this. Thank you for your understanding. And on with the episode.
Recording starts now.
Okay, here we are. We are back once again.
Yes, we are.
So how are you, Joe?
Honestly, I'm just doing my best today.
That's all you can ever really do.
No, I can do better than that, but let's not get into that.
Well, you heard it here first.
But, yes, welcome to Your Time Starts Now, a Taskmaster podcast. I'm Joe.
And I'm Emerson. Hey, we did it the other way around for a change.
We did. And today we are talking about Taskmaster Season 3, Episode 3, Little Polythene Grief Cave.
So we're doing the third episode of the third series of Taskmaster.
That's what I said.
Yeah. So there's 3-3.
3-3 indeed.
Yeah. You could like a close encounter of the third kind.
Close encounter of the third task.
Close encounter of the third series of Taskmaster.
Mm-hmm. So
none of those will be our episode titles.
Yeah, no, I'm sure there'll be there's a bunch of stuff in here that is particularly memorable, even as I was just watching through it.
Yep.
So
do you have any banter beforehand? Oh, wow.
I was about to ask you if you had any banter, because I really don't have anything. Like, I mean, aside from some pretty hardcore work over the weekend, I really don't have anything either. What have you been doing?
I was working, because I've done a lot of, I got a job in hospitality over the summer, and basically I've been working at various stuff. I've done a lot of festivals. Mainly my stuff has been pouring drinks and working behind the till. It's been all right. I did a festival in... do you know where Essex is? In relation to London. Basically, the place I was working was about an hour and a bit's drive from where I live in London.
Okay, yeah, I'm trying to go through all my my English regional stereotypes. Did they film Geordie Shore there?
No, that's in South Shields or something. You're thinking of Towie. The Only Way is Essex.
Okay, that's what it was.
Basically, everyone from the Essex stereotypes. They're a bit hard to. Well, basically, everyone. Well, the stereotype of the quote unquote Essex girl. This is before anyone comes at me. This is a negative stereotype on the stereotype of the Essex girl on Wikipedia. So please do not hate me. The stereotypical image formed as a variation of the dumb blonde / bimbo persona, with references to the estuary English accent. White stiletto heels, miniskirts, silicone augmented breasts, peroxide blonde hair, I think that's how you pronounce it, overindulgent use of fake tan, lending an orange appearance, promiscuity, loud verbal vulgarity, and socializing at downmarket nightclubs.
So they're trashy. Okay.
That's a stereotype. Not every... I know a couple of... that's the Essex girl stereotype. I know a couple of girls personally from Essex, and they're really lovely.
Okay, but that specific stereotype is like a down-market version of the Valley Girl stereotype.
Maybe, yeah.
Which is...
And to sort of make up for it, I'll read the bit that talks about challenging the Essex stereotype just below it. In 2004, Bob Russell, Liberal Democrat MP for Colchester in Essex, appealed for debate in the House of Commons on the issue, encouraging the boycott of the People tabloid. I think it's just like a trashy magazine, which has printed several derogatory references to girls from Essex. The Essex Women's Adversary Group was set up in 2010 to combat the negative stereotypes stereotyping of girls living in Essex by supporting Essex-based women's charities, helping those in need, as well as by funding projects that promote women's and girls' learning and success in science, technology, the arts, sports, and business. The charitable fund is administered by the Essex Community Foundation. On the 6th of October 2016, Juliet Thomas and Natasha Sawkins of the Mother Hub launched a campaign on social media to draw attention to the negative definition of Essex girl in the Oxford English Dictionary and Collins Dictionary. Their main goal was to raise awareness and to open a dialogue around the derogatory Essex girl stereotype. Their campaign centered around changing the definition of Essex girl to a girl from or living in Essex by encouraging women to use the hashtag I am an Essex girl, and include a petition to change or remove the dictionary definitions. The campaign reached the national press. Oh, see also, Airhead, Arleanne, Essex Man, we might read that one in a sec, Valley Girl, as you mentioned, a Trixie, which is a slang for a young urban white woman, The Only Way is Essex, the TV show I mentioned, and Educating Essex. We'll look up. Oh wow, there's a lot more to the Essex Man. I don't think I'll read the whole thing on it, but
regional stereotyping.
Yeah, there's a lot of regional stereotyping. There's regional stereotyping all over the world. We're just saying we do not condone any of these stereotypes. I've said I know some very smart, intelligent people, girls specifically from Essex. You know who you are, and shout out to you. You're amazing. Yeah. The Essex Man and Thatcherism. Fuck it up. You know what? Fuck this shit. I've already talked enough about Essex stereotypes.
Essex Man versus Margaret Thatcher. Who will win? Certainly not the coal industry.
Fuck Margaret Thatcher.
Jesus Christ.
Thank goodness we weren't trying to stop climate change in the 80s.
A lot of things would have been weirder in the 80s if we'd started then.
Yeah. Anyway,
on to unless we have any, because we don't have any more regional stereotypes to talk about.
7 minutes of discussing the stereotypes of Essex women. Anyway, shall we?
I want the title of this episode to be Essex Man versus Margaret Thatcher. That sounds funny.
Yeah, that does sound funny. Okay,
but
well, we'll do like a split screen of dramatic.
We don't make any other reference to it for the.
Yeah, I'm just talking about the thumbnail for it because I think the only person there is genuinely a guy called Joey Essex.
Yeah, I've heard of him before.
Amazingly, though, he's done a lot of stuff in Essex, but he's not from Essex.
Yeah, isn't he like a ripoff of the Pauly Shore character from the critically reviled American reality show Jersey Shore?
I've never seen Jersey Shore. I've never even seen Geordie Shore. I know
it's like Geordie Shore, but even trashier.
Oh well, we're not here to talk trashy reality shows. We're here to talk highbrow. What's like a good high class word to describe Taskmaster?
High class tomfoolery.
High class tomfoolery. That could be another good episode time.
That could be.
What if we called this episode Essex Men, Margaret Thatcher, and High Class Tomfoolery?
That would be fun. Although I wonder, YouTube limits you to a certain number of characters in the.
I think we're so much longer, way below the average character. I think whatever.
We can work on this. Either that or we make it so long it barely fits in the episode title.
All right. We bantered for nearly 10 minutes. Should we go for
Yes. So starting off with the
little polythene
prize task.
Before we do that, we have to talk about the banter because there's a very important the first use of a very common 3-word phrase in this episode.
Which is, I didn't notice anything here.
This episode is the first use of Greg saying "Little Alex Horn."
Really?
Yes.
Fascinating. I hadn't even noticed that before.
It's not the first. That's not the last time we'll hear that.
No,
sure.
We won't.
Anyway, Alex says he's now been promoted to semi-professional. Even though he and Greg are leagues and leagues and leagues apart, he's now able to feed and clothe his children.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, go for it.
Yes, now we're on to the prize task, which the contestants were instructed to bring in the best battery-operated item, which immediately draws a round of raucous laughter from the audience, and
the audience is dirty-minded,
and a round of groans from everyone on stage, because none of them, including Sarah Pascoe, who mentions this out loud, did not think to bring that, nor did Alex when he was making this task. Which
I've had a lot of moments like that. There was a task in I know I'm jumping way, way, way ahead into the future here, but I think it's the very first VT task of Series 11, which had me like they read it out loud and I was just like, oh no 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 no. Oh, no, 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 no.
But,
yep.
But, yeah, no, I definitely thought of that. Actually, it's like, it's such a hilarious thing. Although, actually, I'm just going to say this right now. I didn't actually care for anything anyone brought, really. But, just to go through them so we can discuss them more fully.
I told you the prize tasks would get shit.
It's not even that the prize task itself is terrible. It's that these particular prizes aren't great.
Oh yeah, that's true. Because I mean,
like obviously, I mean, this actually would have been fantastic if everybody had just brought in 5 vibrators, which is what the whole joke, which is what the audience was laughing at. Is that the obvious joke here? Is that battery-powered sex toys? For anyone who might not have gotten it.
Mm.
And if they'd done that, that would have like rocketed this up to one of the best prize tasks in the show so far.
Oh, but so that's why my mum kept wanting to use my dad's toolbox.
Don't your parents listen to this, Emerson? You're going to have to explain that one to them.
Oh, what fucks do they give? Anyway.
Fair enough. But anyways, we're just going to go through the list of people. Dave Gorman went first. He brought Ewan the Dream Sheep. It's a
it's funny because it's got you in it.
Oh, that's why. Okay.
You isn't like the type of female sheep, even though Ewan is a man.
No, I know what it is. I just didn't. It didn't even occur to me, but. It's a white noise generator that for small children, and he has a really heartwarming story attached to it about how he got it for his child.
The thing is,
for his infant.
Can I say something on the? Because when he said white noise, when I first said that, my gut instinct was sort of like because Al Murray made like a really throaty kind of noise. I've always imagined white noise as like TV static.
Yeah, well,
and then
there's a couple.
And then Paul Chowdhury says, and then Paul Chowdhury says,
"Come here, mate. What are you doing?"
That's just the most Paul Chowdhury thing you could possibly say.
I'm so glad we were in sync because I was about to ask you to drop that soundbite. But
yeah, well, I've decided to start when I just say because I feel like because since we've recorded Series 1 only a few months ago, I feel like we've already grown so much in our recording. We're not like saying things. We're adding more sound bites of like the contestants saying things. So it's like especially with Series 3 with like all the stuff with Paul Chowdhury.
Yeah, Paul Chowdhury is a walking quote machine.
Yeah, I realize I have been harsh on Paul Chowdhury. His comedy is fine. I'm just not really a fan of how abrasive he can come across sometimes.
That's valid.
Like I said before, you can't please everyone.
Yeah. But anyways, moving back to You and the Dream Sheep, Dave Gorman had this mildly heartwarming tale, because Greg certainly didn't care for it, about how he bought one for his 8-month-old, and then he was so attached to the noise of that when he went on tour, he missed his child. He bought another one so that he could hear the noises because the kid slept in the same room as he and his wife did. So that's mildly heartwarming. It's about the closest we're going to get to heartwarming in this, because the next one is Rob Beckett, who brought a light you clip into the bottom of your toilet so that when you open the bowl,
it would literally scare the shit out of you.
Listen, that if you know that's there, that's not going to be an issue. I don't like this because it's battery powered, right? Which means that eventually the batteries will die. And
then you'll have to reach into it to change it.
And this thing, and
you know what men are like. You know what men are like.
You'd aim for it. I know
yes.
you.
I would aim for it. I'll throw my hands in the air and say it now.
Every time you would aim for it. Yep. And there's no... So you're going to have to deal with a piss-covered light in 6 months when you either have to take it out to change the battery or throw it away.
Well, so you could always just take it out wearing marigold gloves or something.
Or how about this? You never take it out, and it just sits there like a barnacle on the side of your toilet bowl for the rest of the time you own that toilet.
Or you could just say, that's a toilet freshener.
And then just line the toilet bowl with more lights until you've got like just a disco themed toilet.
Oh, like
of which only one light works.
When you open the door at night, it plays like some 70s disco music, like say. Something like ABBA or Disco Inferno. Songs which I won't sing for copyright reasons.
Open the toilet bowl and Disco Inferno starts playing.
Well, it's funny because like it's got Disco Inferno and you need a piss to put out the fire.
Jesus Christ. But yeah, that is definitely
Disco Inferno. Don't copyright us, please.
If you get copyright claimed for doing that, I'll be shocked. But anyways, on to the next one. Al Murray predictably brought something mildly expensive. Again, I don't have an exact price for this, but he brought a dancing Wall-E toy, which is a I
want to try and do the voice. I'm trying to do the voice.
No.
Wall-E.
Oh my god.
How was that?
More disturbing than I think you meant it to. I think if you really want to, you should just drop an actual soundbite from like the movie.
Wall-E's so cute, though.
It is. The problem is that this toy isn't. This is just like a little plastic toy of Wall-E that you just sort of... It's not one of the remote control ones. It's just one that you put on a table and it dances around a little bit. I remember seeing them for sale when I would go to the mall and walk past like the Disney store and some other shops like that. It's not... It just doesn't do anything for me. It's just cool. That's there. I could list you probably 5 or 6 different, toys of that nature that would be 1,000 times better.
I can't come to terms with the fact that the film Wall-E itself is 13 years old.
I can.
It makes me realize how long ago 2008, I think it came out, was.
Yeah. That was a while ago.
You know what really gets under my skin?
No.
Have you seen Ratatouille?
Yes.
Ratatouille came out the year before Wall-E in I think 2007. I wish Ratatouille had been released in 2008 instead, simply because 2008 was a Chinese Year of the Rat.
Year of the Rat. I'm sure,
but it doesn't really matter. Ratatouille is still up there for one of the god tier Pixar movies.
Yeah, Pixar made a lot of good movies, and then there are also things like Cars.
We should do a bonus content where we do like we rank the Pixar movies personally.
I'd rather just have a bonus content where I sit for like an hour and a half and just sort of yell in your general direction about how nothing in the Cars movies makes a damn bit of sense.
That's true.
Because I watched Cars 3. I watched parts of it. I don't remember where I saw it, but the one thing that I remembered more than anything else was that there is a scene in that movie where some stuff is being affixed to like a note board, like one of those cork boards with push pins and thumbtacks. And the thing you have to remember is that this is a universe where everything is a car. How do they use thumbtacks?
Well, the only vehicles that have some sort of dexterity are the forklifts.
Yeah, no, I know that.
That's
but
why they're all like...
Why do thumbtacks exist then? And actually, I've had questions about this series, about the Cars series, for literally, what year is it now? 2021? Literally
the first
16
Cars is
years.
15 years old.
Yeah, no, I saw the first trailer in 2005. There was a baby car that was... I don't even remember what it was, like the first teaser trailer, and there was like one shot of like a little baby car in it. And since that day, I have been wondering, how in the hell does that work as a thing? Because does it get towed around on a trailer by its parents? Does it grow into a bigger car? Does it just drive along next to them? Never has that been answered. It's been 16 years.
I will say though, have you seen the film Robots? Came out roughly the same.
Yes, that movie explained everything. That movie didn't need to explain a damn thing, and yet they have better world building than the entire Cars franchise.
That's true. I'm sort of thinking because I can't remember his name, but I actually haven't even seen Robots either. I've seen bits of it.
I've seen
the clip where the main character robot goes from like being a baby to being grown up.
Yeah, his name is Rodney Copperbottom.
What happens with Rodney as he grows up, I think, is that the new parts come for him as he progresses and his parents. Well, actually,
the whole thing of the movie is that his parents aren't that wealthy, so he gets hand-me-down parts.
Okay,
that's actually, as a brief aside, the whole plot of Robots is that it's parodying the craze in tech companies of making everything be like new and sleek and totally backwards incompatible by having all the old robots who are older, and like not wealthy. They're like fighting for their right to have spare parts made. That's the whole background of the movie, and the main conflict is about a company run by like a shiny, sleek metal guy who wants to get rid of all the old robots and sell expensive upgrades for like other shiny people as opposed to the poor people, because they were making these comparisons in 2006, even before the iPhone came out.
Wow.
So it's not a bad film. It's just also, it's in the same realm as Space Jam, where it's like, this movie is insane, but at the same time, it's not terrible.
I have so many questions about Space Jam, but we'll save them for another day because we're 22 minutes in. That's the length of an average Simpsons episode, and we need to be back on track.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, we haven't even finished the prize task. The last... haven't...
Second to last.
Well, actually, just to recap for anyone who might have gotten distracted, Dave Gorman brought in a battery-powered white noise generator that's also like a cuddly sheep. Rob brought a light that's in your toilet bowl, and Al brought a Wall-E toy, like a desk toy that dances around a little bit. Sarah Pascoe brought an iPod Touch that also
which she still
to have,
has in like 2016.
I mean, the iPod Touch wasn't as much on its way out as it was now. Nobody gives a shit about the iPod Touch now, but this was still right around the point when they stopped caring.
Yep.
But more to the point, it was her personal iPod Touch, because she claimed to have an old Nokia which did not have internet on it, so this is the only way she could check her email, which I respect. I respect a lot. This is right at the edge of like society's progression when you could actually still do that. I give her respect for that. And then it also happened to have, it was open to the App Store, which had her album on it, which is just another little joke there, because I guess she had a comedy album out. And then we have Paul Chowdhury, who has obviously brought the best thing here, which is some
light up dreadlock headbands.
Yes, those are the best. I love those. Nothing else in that entire lineup of stuff that people brought in any way did even like bring a smile on my face. Those are great. I love those. Because my mother does a lot of holiday decorating, does a lot of things for different holidays, and those light up hairbands come in any different holiday, and I've worn those, she's worn those, everyone in the family's worn those at some point. They're great.
I'm just going to drop in, sorry to cut you off, I'm just going to drop in Paul's reasoning as to why he thinks
I'm glad
it's the
you're
best.
going to do that, because I was going to ask you to do that.
Yeah. Again, we are doing production midway through the episode. Anyway.
This is where you can become a Rasta without becoming a Rasta.
You can become a Rasta without becoming a Rasta.
Yeah, that's that. Okay, so that's... Do you want to rank these things?
Yes, well, let's first give them... Joe? Well, first, let's put them in the order that Greg did.
Oh, of course.
Greg, going from last to first, Greg gave Dave Gorman last place because he didn't like it.
That's a shame.
He gave Paul Chowdhury second place because he thought they weren't that great of a thing. Sarah gets third. Al gets at 3 points. I'm sorry. Al gets second, and then Rob Beckett gets first place with his toilet light because Greg is a middle-aged man with an enlarged prostate, so he needs to pee many times in the night.
And have you seen the body on that Greek god of a man?
My God. I have seen photos of Greg Davies standing up. He is very tall.
No, but like, what I'm saying is, Greg Davies has a Netflix special called You Magnificent Beast, and the picture to go along with it is him shirtless in a lake or something.
I have seen Greg Davies in more disclosed state than I wanted to, because he also did
want to see Greg Davies because even
he did an episode of the Russell Howard show where they both got pants drunk, which is this thing where in Scandinavian countries where you sit around in your underwear and just get plastered.
Fucking hell.
So that's on YouTube somewhere. I don't know where.
But I do want to see Greg Davies in person because it probably will be a sight to behold.
Greg Davies, a sight to behold. That can be on his Twitter bio.
If you, Greg Davies, if you want to name your next tour a sight to behold, you will have to pay us about £500,000.
Yes.
We don't need any more than that. We're okay with that.
What are you talking about? I would sell those rights for much more. But you said it already. So anyways, let's go into Taskmaster Joe.
Taskmaster Joe.
So no. What were you going to say?
I was just going to say that jingle's really annoying.
It is. What did you do to it this time? He says, not knowing what it sounds like.
I'm not going to do anything. Maybe we'll shake it up for Series 4.
Okay, but so in last place, I'm going to give Rob Beckett because I don't want to have to deal with a piss-covered light in 6 months when the battery dies. Second place, I'm going to give Dave Gorman because I don't need a dream
like
sheep, and I don't really care. I imagine if I ever have a kid, that'll change, but right now, no. I'm going to give Al third because it's an expensive toy, because it was made by Disney. I also do not give two shits about it.
Wow.
I don't. It doesn't do anything for me. It's just it's just a little toy. It's not even like one that like does anything other than like dance around a little bit. And then
Wally.
I'd give it even less if it made that sound.
I'm not saying they should make a sequel to Wally. They should have cast me.
I would like to see it. see a sequel to
I
WALL-E,
wouldn't.
just to see how they do with the world they've created. Although,
I
considering
wouldn't
how
want to.
Disney...
What I do want to
Well,
see,
yeah.
though, is more sequels to The Incredibles.
Yeah, they did manage to do very well on that one.
Do you know what
But,
film got a lot of sequels that it didn't need?
The Cars films?
Yeah, but... Oh, and there's a Disney Plus series coming, but that's a story for another day.
What?
Hotel Transylvania.
I haven't seen that. So
I've
I
seen the
wouldn't
first
know.
two. I've not seen the third one. And I know in the fourth one, there's some like weird spell that turns all the monsters into human versions of themselves, and vice versa.
I did see the trailer for that. That's number 4.
Yeah, and you see the Invisible Man as a normal person for the first time,
Huh.
and everyone was like absolutely ecstatic over him for some. I was personally happy with the fact that they remembered that he said he had red curly hair.
Huh.
Because
I have not seen any of these.
Basically in the very first Hotel Transylvania movie. Because there's the human guy who has like curly red hair.
No.
Okay.
I
Basically,
have
the
never
Invisible...
seen the Hotel Transylvania movies.
Alright, basically the first Hotel Transylvania movie came out in like 2012, I think. And the Invisible Man says he has red curly hair in like saying it's in like because Dracula said it wasn't that bad to have. It was a bad thing to have red curly hair, and the Invisible Man took offense to this, I think. 9 years later, when we see the Invisible Man not invisible for the first time, we see that he actually does have red curly hair.
Oh my god. They really have made 4 of these. Why? It's okay, just anyways, moving on. Where did I get here? Yes, I didn't. Sarah gets second place because
We need to stop doing tangents. Keep going.
I'm just astounded that there was this much of a market for a Hotel Transylvania movie.
Me too, but
anyways, Sarah, I'm giving second because it's an iPod. It's still useful. And then Paul, I'm giving first place too because those things rock.
Fair enough.
So
in the words of the great philosopher Paul Chowdhury,
This is where you can become a Rasta without becoming a Rasta.
Right, and now we're moving on to task one. In parentheses, I have bodily fluids.
So I'll take over.
Yep.
VT Task 1, fill an egg cup with your own sweat. Or as I like to call it, the sequel to fill an egg cup with as many tears as possible.
Yeah, you'll note that they actually had to say your own sweat.
Yep.
As opposed to noted lich Frank Skinner stealing the tears of the innocent.
Old Shep, bastard. Or more literally, you son of a bitch. Anyway, we also have a solo task in the middle of this main one. Rob Beckett has to do the whole task talking in a different accent to his own. And he looks like he genuinely wants to kill himself throughout the whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
He can't quite place an accent, but he does say some pretty funny shit. My personal favorite being...
I'm going to get me caught.
Yeah, I actually have
It's a mixture
down,
of like Scottish and Welsh.
I have here strange Irish or Scandinavian accent, ?
Anyway, Rob Beckett, he gets a bunch of heaters and his fur coat, and he eats chili peppers all the while doing it in this weird accent, and he gets fuck all basically. 0 drops of sweat.
Yeah, it seems that they were given a time limit of 20 minutes, although that was not explicitly stated, but it is mentioned a couple times that they spent all of the 20 minutes doing this or that.
Shit's weird.
That's not long enough to build up a lather, really, or to start sweating, unless you're like someone fat like me.
Okay.
Because I absolutely would dominate this task,
sweat like a
provided
pig.
it was all. I produce a lot of moisture from my skin. A lot.
Make that your Tinder bio.
No, I don't use Tinder.
Your loss.
But it's really just. Sometimes it's not fun sweating that much, but it definitely takes some time unless it's really hot.
Yeah, very, very true.
Also of a note, Rob squeezes his head to try and produce sweat.
Stupid.
And like he's gonna squeeze his head, eat, pop, out comes some sweat.
To be fair though, people are stupid sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
I need more energy. Anyway, Dave Gorman is paired up with Rob. He also wears a coat and does some exercise. He creates a little greenhouse under the table, or as Greg describes it, a little polythene grief cave. Gets 5 drops of sweat.
And
so not bad.
out of his ass is where the sweat comes from.
Oh god, I hate to imagine what that must have been like getting it out.
He said, "Use any crevice God gives you." Isn't that what he said in the episode?
Probably. I didn't write down the quote. Paul Chowdhury. Yeah, there's not a lot to say about the first two, other than Rob's accents are pretty funny. Paul Chowdhury, he does squats, press-ups, punches, lunge jumps, laps of the room, and no result. And then Paul says another great quote.
Al Murray's going to win this, that fat bastard.
This gets a funny reaction. And the funny thing is, Al does anything but win. But we'll get to that in a sec. He adds more layers. Paul Chowdhury gets 12 drops of sweat, most so far. But it's a weird color. It's all black and stuff. And this is what leads Greg to ask Paul if he's quote unquote blacking up.
I was going to say we should just have that whole exchange because it starts with Paul. Why is it that color? And then just it devolves from there. It's great.
All right, I'll put the whole thing in, and we'll go from here.
Paul, why is it that colour? I'm going to ask you a straight question here, mate. You blacking up?
We know you've got some fake dreadlocks. I'm feeling a lot better about my accents now.
Why was it that colour?
Like, I creamed myself before.
Creamed yourself?
I creamed myself, like, earlier on that day.
Yeah, you say that like it's standard practice.
You moisturise your own body, innit? Before you...
You moisturise your body?
Yeah.
OK, I'm going to ask you the same question. Why is it that colour, mate?
Oh, because the T-shirt was a dark colour.
T-shirt flow.
And it rubbed onto the sweat and the cream.
Cream.
And created some kind of a sweat fungus.
The old black sweat fungus.
I mean, like, Paul's been, like, very on top of all the racist shit, this, series, with the whole, when his comment about the white noise, and, when he was attacking Alex for not supplying him with more brown sauce, and then getting the prospect that he might be doing blackface is...
It's just every line
like
from that whole exchange is so wonderful because it's the bewilderment at why is your sweat that color to what does it and then it's like Paul's explanations don't help.
Paul's not really. Paul is a master of words, and sometimes he isn't.
The things that Paul says make sense to Paul, and it's never really apparent whether it will make sense to anybody else. And it's wonderful to like hear them sometimes, just because of the utter.
I love the contestants
confusion.
who just say really funny things from time to time.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's why a lot of people fell in love with Mike Wozniak, because he had a lot of really, really good iconic catchphrases.
Yeah, he'll just say something and then just like.
Have you seen Mike Wozniak on Taskmaster?
I have been saving myself for when we actually see the episode.
I want to I want to give a shout out to something Mike Wozniak has done. When I finished Series 11, most people who fell in love with Mike Wozniak, like myself, and were craving more in his life, I found that he has a podcast that he hosts with two other gentlemen called the Three Bean Salad Podcast. And basically, each episode is just dedicated to a random thing. Like, one episode will be about bags, the next about posters, there'll be one about submarines, asteroids, sleep, the color purple. And
that sounds fascinating.
And it's a great idea for a podcast, too, just spending each episode dedicated to a very specific object. Or objects.
I mean, I can just do that if you just let me talk long enough.
Well, I've wanted to keep this episode short, but we're nearly at 40 minutes, so we better keep going.
Yeah.
We need to stop going on tangents. Anyway, Al Murray, plain and simple, he asks if sweat and piss are the same thing. Doesn't wait for an answer, pisses in the egg cup anyway. And
he does not piss in the egg cup. That is very Al Murray asks.
He pissed in like a jug, but thankfully wasn't translucent or transparent.
I just want to say this. I want to say this because I watched that on my phone, and I just sort of was able to look away, and it was censored on YouTube on the YouTube video. But there was someone in the comments who said, "I've seen the uncensored version, and the color was disturbing."
Have you seen the uncensored version?
No. I have not.
It is very disturbing. I don't know if you want me to describe it to you.
Is it yellow? Is it like a very dark yellow?
It's a very vibrant yellow, actually.
Oh no. Oh dear. That's because and he filled this pot with it because he grabbed like a pot from the kitchen and then just poured it into the egg cup. And he did actually ask, is sweat and urine the same thing? And he did apparently consult Google, which said that they were both based from urea. But obviously there's a bit of difference. But
Al's still disqualified though.
You can get into that because the reason there was a bit of they consulted someone who said no.
I would have said no too. Because they consulted some scientist or something.
They consulted a pair of TV doctors, and they're like twins. I don't know who they are. So
I'm not saying that they're not qualified, but people who have their profession like a TV lawyer, like a Judge Judy or Judge Rinder or something. Their sole purpose is to do it on TV.
Actually, in fairness to Judge Judy, and I can't believe I had to say that, she is actually a judge. She is actually like fully licensed and capable of doing what she does.
So is Judge Rinder. I mean, I personally haven't seen him do anything actual judge work off TV. Maybe he has.
Well, yeah,
but he definitely has a law degree.
Would you, if you got paid that much for the show?
Well, the thing is, most reality shows like that are very scripted.
Apparently Judge Judy is not. Apparently Judge Judy actually, they obviously find a bunch of nutcases for this, but they actually do say that basically they are treating Judge Judy's ruling as binding arbitration.
Woof.
So it is like going to court.
Yeah. Anyway, to keep the pace moving, even though we are 43 minutes and 15 seconds in, Al gets DQ'd in the end.
Yeah, he'd said that he'd consulted Google and it said it was the doctors who were consulted by the Taskmaster said no. They apparently knew Murray. They apparently knew Al personally and called him out for it through the medium of their consultation. And then Al said, but I went on Google, and Greg said, well, if Google paid their tax, I would have accepted it, but they don't, so I won't.
Taxes. And speaking of taxes, especially in the next task, but we'll get to the next task in a second.
Because we haven't talked about Sarah yet.
Sarah does a very similar thing to Frank Skinner, I think, in which it says she needs her own sweat, so she buys sweat off some of the crew.
She specifically off of the sound man. She bought it off of him, 8 drops for £2.
Wow. What an amazing way to make money.
Yeah, making it hers now. It is her sweat because she bought it.
I mean, I'm okay with that. I think it's a fun, creative way of doing it.
It is. It's great.
Sadly, though, it still wasn't enough to win her the task. So,
yeah.
Paul Chowdhury gets 5, Sarah 4, Dave 3, Rob 2, and Al gets disqualified. Can you do Taskmaster Joe with something like this?
No. Also, I don't want to, because the only way I could do Taskmaster Joe is if I took away points from Al Murray, and I don't want to think about Al Murray anymore for a moment.
Wow.
But
Al Murray.
But also,
Al Murray, shame on you.
Can we drop in the soundbite of Paul saying "creaming yourself can pay dividends"? Or did Greg say that to Paul?
Well, I'll put the clip in and we'll find out for sure.
Creaming yourself can pay dividends.
Anyway, on to the next task.
On to task number 2, which I love this sort of thing because this is the task is introduced by a Rube Goldberg machine, which is so fun. It's a Rube Goldberg machine crossed with a domino run. Do you know what Rube Goldberg machines are?
I do not know, because I'm an uncultured swine.
Well, I actually am not sure if it's something that's just a mainly American thing, but a Rube Goldberg machine is this. It was invented in early, 1930s, I think, newspaper comics by a guy, where it was an increasingly, elaborate thing that would do something different. So you might have, a ball that goes down a hill that bumps into something else, that pushes something else, that pushes something else, that activates a switch, that turns on a light, that scares a bird, that flies away, knocks over a thing, and so on and so on and so on, and increasingly elaborate steps before it eventually does something incredibly simple like butters a piece of toast.
Wow.
And it's named after American cartoonist Rube Goldberg, because I was looking up to find an example of one of the original ones. Yeah, here, hold on. I will send you this image of a self-operating
Whoa, your audio
napkin.
went a bit weird there for a second. At least on my end.
Am I all right now?
Yeah, you sound all right now, but it was like you were doing an imitation of a robot from WALL-E without even trying. At least what that is sounding to me.
Oh, lovely. Something's going on. But, yeah, here, I sent you, but, yeah, like I just sent you a Rube Goldberg machine version of a self-operating napkin.
Is this on Discord?
Yes.
Okay, just give me a second to open Discord.
Yeah, but anyways, in this one, it's a bunch of different. In the show Taskmaster, it's like a ball is pushed down a hill or down a slope. It knocks over a bunch of stuff and eventually does the domino rally, which swirls around, and then the last domino yanks a cloth off the table and pulls
the task out.
And pulls the cover off the task. It works for everyone except for Paul, because one of the problems with Rube Goldberg machines is they're incredibly elaborate and time-consuming, and a lot of times they don't work, and Paul's just sort of, the ball fell off at the front and didn't go anywhere else.
Wow.
And so Paul's just sort of sitting there like, what's supposed to happen? But anyways, the task itself is make the best domino rally. Your time starts now. It doesn't seem to give a time frame. I think it's around an hour. It's not particularly
An hour makes sense.
They also, for those who didn't know, because Al Murray didn't know, a domino rally is when, also known as a domino run, is when you set up a bunch of dominoes
standing on end.
Standing on end, and then you just push them over, and they go through long, elaborate paths and stuff like that. If
each one knocks down the other over.
Yeah,
it's where the domino effect comes from.
Yeah, you've definitely
where one thing
seen
leads to another version of the exact same thing. Basically,
everyone listening to this has definitely seen a viral version of a domino run.
I used to really like domino runs
in their life, and
I wouldn't say
also
I watch them anymore. My mind's now occupied by marble runs.
Going back to a tangent we've just talked about, there is a domino run in the movie Robots towards the end of the film. They did it in an animated film. Although, but that being said, Alex did not require the use of dominoes because they gave them 1,000 dominoes and the entire house full of things. And some people did, in fact, do that. They didn't use dominoes at all, and we'll get to those. But first of all, we have Dave Gorman, who did this very traditionally. He used 434 dominoes to have a domino rally that went out of the main room of the house, along the tops of the bookshelves, fell off the bookshelf, fell onto the floor, and then the dominoes went along the floor of the house, out the sliding door, into the yard, and just sort of did that. Didn't really do anything else, but he wasn't required to. It was all right. That was the traditional one. Everyone else is not quite as traditional. For Sarah Pascoe,
she was like a rally.
No. I'm going to ask you to just play the soundbite because I have no idea how to describe this in any way that could possibly work.
Okay.
Better.
In goes the soundbite now.
Hello, we'll take that. Welcome to the concert. Yeah. Meanwhile, at the back of the concert, hi, I'm Sarah Pascoe. I'm really dancing. What's that in the distance? I can hear a volcano. Oh no, a volcano's erupted. What's that smell? Oh my God, it smells like that gas that makes everyone go really stiff and fall over. Oh no! Oh no, this falling over has made Take That feel really mortal inside. We're going to pay all of our tax in future.
Because that was insane. That was insane. I know you're hearing it in just the audio form. You did not miss anything. I don't understand what her plan was. And I really thought for a second at the beginning, before she started talking, that she had gone very literal and made like a rally, like, you know, people protesting or something of dominoes. And I thought, oh, that would have been cool. And then she started speaking, and it was like, what the fuck is going on?
It reminds me of like a further... It's like Catherine Ryan and the nursery rhyme task, in a way.
I guess it almost reminds me of like a Monty Python sketch or something, where it's just like
so absurd
for something completely different.
And now for something completely different. A man with 3 buttocks.
Yes.
I remember we used to play back in like we used to play like Monty Python CDs in the car. And I used to love them so much, and I distinctly remember. And now for something completely different: a man with 3 buttocks.
Yeah, or there. I've seen similar bizarre interludes in like Young Ones episodes where they're related to nothing else in the thing other than being in the same episode. It's really weird. I don't get it. What I do get is what Rob did. Rob actually made a real-life domino rally. He used 5 people,
including himself.
including himself, the Taskmaster van, driven by Alex, with like a pole stuck to the front of it, and a swimming pool full of rubber balls, and the van drives up to I think a mattress that's standing on its edge.
Yep.
Bumps into the first person, bumps into this, and then they all fall over, and then whoever's on the end, I think it's Rob, just goes face first into the kiddie pool full of rubber balls. It's great.
Yep.
It's a real life domino run. And then we have Al Murray, who takes it very literally. He makes the best domino rally by making the word best out of dominoes.
It's good on paper.
And then can you just play the soundbite of like the 2 seconds where he tries it? Because it is the funniest thing.
Okay.
Right. 3, 2, 1. Oh, you absolute bellend! Damn it!
Yeah, it didn't.
So basically, for what happens, who doesn't get it? Like the letter B in the word best is the only thing that fell on the first push, and it basically broke poor Al's heart.
Mm-hmm. Oh, it's so funny. It's so funny because he goes from like 100 to 0 in like a second. It's so great.
I love toss like that where a contestant. Oh, obviously it's so heartbreaking, but a contestant will just spend so much time amping themselves up, putting so much effort into it, and then it all just falls to pieces right before their eyes.
It was funny as shit. And then we finally come to Paul Chowdhury.
And this is a really bizarre thing.
No. This is what I really liked about this, is that Paul made a Rube Goldberg machine. Paul made a Rube Goldberg machine and a domino run at the same time. Because he uses furniture and ladders and stuff. Like there's a couch on its end, and there's a ladder.
And it ends with an egg cracking and falling into a frying pan.
Yeah, and that's a Rube Goldberg machine. That is a perfect example of a Rube Goldberg machine. It's a very simple one.
Obviously, as Greg says, Paul didn't need the egg. That was an obstacle he created himself, but it paid off for sure.
It paid off. He managed to hit exactly on the edge of the pan. It cracked into the pan. It is a perfect Rube Goldberg machine. I'm really pleased that he did that. That's like perfect. And it's so good. Because, like, everything about it is, oh, this is not going to work, and then it does. And I think I just have a sort of special thing for Rube Goldberg machines, because in the 1990s, they really had, in a lot of science museums I went to, they really had stuff about Rube Goldberg machines in a lot of the science museums. And they had, like, the great ball machines where there would be a bunch of different balls going down the tracks, different tracks, as, like, public art installations. And I loved all of those. And I love that sort of like everything's moving around and doing exactly what it should. And so that's great. I loved that. And
should we do Taskmaster Joe? Or?
Well, first let's very quickly do the scores from Greg. Greg gives Al and Sarah joint last place because neither of them managed to fully knock over their dominoes. So they get joint last.
Rob gets 3.
Rob gets third place, Dave gets second, and Paul gets first.
Yeah, very well-deserved victory for Paul Chowdhury.
Yes, and
should I do Taskmaster Joe, or do you? Yeah,
yes,
okay.
do that.
Here we go.
Taskmaster Joe.
So I'm giving Sarah last place just by herself because it doesn't make a damn bit of sense. And it's definitely not a domino rally. I don't know what she was doing, but it's certainly not that. I actually want to see the thought process behind that, but that's nothing. Al, I'm going to give 4th place to because he deserves a point for making me laugh. I'm going to give Rob and Dave joint 2nd because theirs were perfectly functional in very different ways. And then I'm going to give Paul Chowdhury 1st because he made a Rube Goldberg machine. It was great.
Yep. I mean, I can't see a word where you don't give Paul Chowdhury first place, if I'm being honest. So, next task. Buy a gift for the Taskmaster.
It's the present task.
Yeah. And I hate to say it, but this will be the last present task. Ever.
Unfortunate.
Yeah. But I think, to be honest, I can kind of see why they got rid of it.
I mean, you can't top getting
a tattoo.
Mm-hmm.
That still to this day is the most commitment to any task ever.
Yeah.
Anyway, Paul does another weird impression. I'll just insert it here.
Cash, rude boy. Cash.
And we start with Rob, who gets Greg a footstool that matches his chair. Enough said. Dave Gorman.
It also has a blanket, doesn't it? Or is that the cover that he...
That's a cover, I think, to both make it more a surprise, and Greg can, like... To Greg, it's probably, like, the size of a napkin, but... Yeah. The blanket's a nice addition. Dave Gorman, a collection of Wem memorabilia, because Greg is from a town called Wem. These include a book about Wem's history that's probably no more than 100 pages. A program from the biggest ever Wem football game. A bottle from the Wem brewery, which Greg went to all of his school trips for. All of them, Joseph. And a single called Wem.
Mm-hmm.
Greg loves it.
Viva Shropshire. Isn't that what he said?
I think so.
Yes. Yes.
We'll just, if he does say it, we'll put it in just here.
Viva Shropshire, Wem.
He does, right at the end of
as if I need more editing work in one day to do it.
I'm so sorry.
Oh, it's all right. This is why I want to make the episode short.
Yes.
We can probably wrap it up in about 15 minutes, though.
Yeah.
So, Al gives him £20 worth of the last Rolo, which is like, the meaning behind the last Rolo, I think, is it's a sort of like a nice gesture.
Yeah, it's basically, Rolos come in tubes. We've talked about round snacks that come in foil wrapping like this. Starburst are the same way. Not Starburst, Lifesavers, and it's basically you eat down to the last one, and he gave him that, but that also meant that Al had to eat over 300 Rolos to get the last Rolo.
The Rolo slogan until 2003, do you love someone enough to give them your last Rolo?
So, I didn't know that, but that makes a lot more sense now.
And actually not finally, Sarah Pascoe wrote 1 page worth of Greg's sitcom Man Down, in the hope that he would fall for it being multiple pages. And
I don't think she hoped he would fall for it, because she told him outright.
Oh, that's my bad. Sorry. She's saying that she'll pay him £20. He'll have to pay her £20 more for every page.
Per page, yeah.
And Greg
takes
it very insulted. Not very insulted.
I wrote in my notes that she wrote some Man Down fan fiction.
Well, Greg Davies and Mike Wozniak.
Whatever it was, she wrote exactly 1 page of it. But and then we have
Greg felt. I'm trying to. Mike Wozniak felt Greg reach around behind his back.
Oh, don't you dare! Don't you dare! Don't! No! I'm going to keep talking until you stop. I do not need.
I'm going to stop
as my pod.
I
need this in my podcast.
I won't. I mean, I was thinking. I was on the verge of soiling a classic Mike Wozniak catchphrase, but I am not going to, because I respect the man too much. And if I have one, speaking of which, if I have one complaint about his 3 Bean Salad podcast, as you might have known from the title, it's hosted by 3 people. They all sound like the same person. Yeah. The good thing about our podcast, there's only 2 of us, and it is so stupidly easy to tell us apart.
Yes.
Unless, imagine in a tragic universe where actually just the same person doing an accent over 2 different recording periods.
That would be a hell. Okay, I barely have enough time to record this podcast. You think I have enough time to do your voice too?
What if for a future episode we did the entire podcast in each other's accents?
It's not going to work. Cannot do an accent to save my life.
I can try and do an American accent.
Ooh,
you want to hear it?
Tread lightly, my friend.
Okay, so what I found out was, I mean, it's all right. It doesn't really matter, but it's pretty good. I enjoy spending time here. It's like the city. Girls are pretty good. I like the drinks as well. You know, I can really
fucking Christ, that's actually
what?
That's astonishingly non-specific yet scarily sounds like you American accent.
Thank you.
That was like I was expecting it to be like a parody one, and it's like, oh shit, that is alternate universe Emerson right there.
I mean, thank
That's
you.
Weird.
I mean, I try my hardest. I am really, really quite something.
Okay, you need to stop. That's freaking me out a little bit.
It's like I'm trying to hit on anyone.
Which I'm going to be real with you. This is actually really funny because I was watching a clip from Taskmaster New Zealand last night.
Oh, I finally finished the first series of Taskmaster New Zealand. It's really good, actually.
I know. All I can think of now is one of the comments I read on it where it was like, so this is what alternate universe Taskmaster looks like. And we need to, if we ever cover Taskmaster New Zealand, we need to basically be like an alternate universe version of this podcast. I don't know what the hell I'm going to do. Maybe I'll use a voice changer, but
I'll do the entire podcast. I'll do a different impression of a different character for every episode. I'm not saying I'm going to commit to that, but it's just a possibility. Also, what I love about Taskmaster New Zealand, at least the first series, the Taskmaster's assistant is a guy called Paul Williams, and his brother Guy Williams was one of the contestants. And that led to some pretty awkward shit.
Oh, that would be funny.
Anyway, finally, we get to Paul Chowdhury, who buys Greg Naked Twister, but he builds it up.
Well, he buys him a game of Twister.
Yeah, he can play Naked. Greg can play Naked Twister by himself.
Everything about this is something I want to give you more editing work for these sound bites.
That's all right. I'll just play the whole clip here.
Thank you.
Well, you're a man that likes women. I've known you for a long time. You've had a lot of women in your life.
Don't say it in that creepy voice. Yeah, I like women. I like men. It's all good.
No, but mainly women, isn't it?
What do you think he's got in the box at this stage?
I mean, a severed hand.
So you're a man that likes women.
Yeah. You're right, Paul. I do like women. Here he comes. Oh, it's not creepy. It's a game of Twister.
Pretty much speaks for itself. So the scores.
You're a man who likes women, right?
Yes. I do like women.
What's in the box? Is it a hand?
Oh, do you know what made me think of it? Have you seen a sitcom called Plebs? It's sort of like, it's on the line of In-Betweeners and Friday Night Dinner, sort of that thing. But it's set in ancient Rome. And basically, one episode, a guy gets his hand chopped off. He's not really an important character. But one of the, main characters who's like, he uses the severed hand to wank himself off.
Jesus Christ.
Anyway, point. Dave Gorman.
Oh, we're just going to leave it there. Okay.
Yeah. We have to move quickly.
Yes.
Dave Gorman,
okay.
5 points. Rob, 4. Al, 3. Paul, 2. Sarah, 1. What are your scores if you're doing Taskmaster Joe?
I'm not, because I'm not Greg, and these were all directed directly to Greg. So I can't really I don't give a shit about Wem, but he does.
All right.
So anyway, on to the next one.
We're making good time. We're 65 minutes.
We are making great time. So this one is create the best flag meal. You have 10 minutes to choose your flag and plan your meal and 30 minutes to prepare your meal. Best flag wins. Your time starts now. Nobody's really entirely sure what this means, but it basically is that you have to make a meal that looks like a flag. And that's it.
Yeah.
And you're judged by how accurate it is, but also apparently by how it tastes, which was not stated, but Greg seemed to view that. Sarah went first. Strawberries, licorice, and white icing created the Canadian flag. And according to Alex, it tastes like how a flag would. Al Murray made the flag of the United Kingdom out of rice.
And food coloring.
And more rice. 3 whole bottles of food coloring.
Oh, sorry, can I just say, Sarah's can of the flag had 1,500 calories in it.
I'm sure that's not enough. That's not enough calories. I'm sure there were in that one bite.
Imagine someone made an American flag out of just like solid fondant cake icing.
I could see that.
Anyway, Al made the Union Jack one out of rice and food coloring.
Yes.
He had to turn it upside down.
Yes.
You know what that reminded me of? It had to be. It's sort of like, have you seen Phineas and Ferb?
Yes.
And there's the comment when Perry the Platypus shows up at Dr. Doofenshmirtz in like a disguise.
Mm-hmm. And then it's like, Perry the Platypus.
Like, a platypus? Puts the hat on. Perry the Platypus!
I love that everyone can do that voice. I was doing that in my head as you were saying that.
Also, just for sake, let's put in the classic jingle.
Doofenshmirtz Evil Incorporated!
Doofenshmirtz Evil Incorporated!
But, yeah.
Anyway, yeah.
Moving right along with Al's thing.
We've done Al. Dave.
Alex was not sick, which Al thinks, if you're not sick, you liked it.
Fair enough.
Was Alex's view. And also, he used enough food coloring. Bless you. He used enough food coloring.
I muted my microphone. How did you hear that?
You certainly did not mute your microphone.
I pressed the mute button. Okay, I'm going to press the mute button, okay? Can you hear me?
Yes.
Fuck.
Can you hear me? Yes. Fuck. Anyways, Al used 3 bottles of food coloring in his flag to the point where you could taste it, which is disgusting.
I didn't even know food coloring had a taste.
I bet if you use enough of it, there is. And
I mean, at least it's not poisonous. We wouldn't be adding it to stuff if it was.
I'm sure anything is poisonous if you consume enough of it.
That's true. That's true.
Water will kill you if you drink enough.
Speaking of water, I've got some with me.
Cool. Dave correctly deduces that you do not have to have a governmental flag. You could also do, say, a non-governmental flag. And so he uses squid ink, cauliflower, champagne, quail's eggs, beans, and rice to create the Skull and Crossbones pirate flag, better known as the Jolly Roger. Notably, there was no champagne in that meal because he drank it.
Yeah. And the flag was terrifying. Just saying.
The flag was a little terrifying looking.
You know, it's like the Wish meme. It's like Jolly Roger flag or Wish.
On buying a Jolly Roger on Wish, and it looks like that. Greg was much more scared of Dave's flag than an actual Jolly Roger, so that probably works. Then I would just like to point out something else. In between Dave's flag and Rob and Paul's flag, there was an ad break, which again normally we don't talk about, but Greg introduces the show at the end of the ad break as the last chapter of today's Taskmaster story, which is not something I think he's ever said before, and I'm not sure if he'll say it again since, but it's worth pointing out because it's a very weird way of introducing the show. Rob, my entire note is the word konnichiwa. Because Rob...
He does the Japanese flag, it's just a pancake dyed red and doused in ketchup.
Doused in ketchup. Alex is, of course, reminded of a placenta as he eats it, which is weird. Rob was going for an accurate flag, and it does look very accurate to the flag of Japan, but it doesn't taste that good. He, when everyone else accuses him of only making the red dot the Japanese flag and not doing anything else with the tray, because the tray was white. The tray they serve it on was white. He claimed that he seasoned the rest of the tray with salt. I bet that tastes terrible.
Awful. It's like you just threw the whole thing in the sea and then brought it out again.
Yes. And then Paul,
or to you, the ocean, because you don't have many seas in the States.
Mm-hmm. We either have oceans or we do have one lake that's full of salt. But anyways, Paul just makes a bunch of quotes and also a meal.
He makes a Mexican flag, and I say Mexican in quotation marks.
He walks into the room saying, "Dinner is served, young man," which is like the start of... I just have more...
Dinner is served, young man.
more quotes than anything, like Mexican flag in it. Like it? No. Which is from Alex. It did look like an eagle till you ate the beak, and then at the end he says, Viva la Mexico. It's, I don't even know what he used as ingredients. Seems to be some
pasta somewhere in there.
There's some kind of pasta, there's some other stuff. Does not really matter. It doesn't look like the Mexican flag. The Mexican
looks more like
eagle
the Mali
of the
flag.
Republic was drawn on with mustard, and as you just said, it does in fact look like the flag of the nation of Mali,
which is somewhere in Northwest Africa.
It's in Northwest Africa next to Mauritius.
Okay.
One of the bigger cities in there is Timbuktu. And then I think another...
The city everyone knows but doesn't know where it is, Timbuktu.
Timbuktu is in Mali.
I thought it was between Timbuk 1 and Timbuk 3. Is this what I've been reduced to? Bad dad jokes?
I always knew of Timbuktu because there was a children's book I had that was called From Timbuktu to Kalamazoo. Because I guess they just picked two funny-sounding city names. Kalamazoo is in Michigan, about 2.5 hours from me. Timbuktu is significantly further.
Patreon tier, we go to Timbuktu.
That's going to be a big Patreon tier. I'll just say that right now. But yeah, and then...
We'll just follow the people around Timbuktu asking them if they've seen Taskmaster.
Go to the British Embassy, knock on the door. Hi, can we use your internet connection to record a podcast about a TV show?
Oh no, what if we just went up to the top of a very windy hill and just like, hi, welcome to Your Time Starts Now, a Taskmaster podcast, live from the top of a hill.
In Timbuktu. We went... The entire podcast is me berating you for choosing a location. It's like, we went to Mali for this?
Oh dear.
But Paul did an accidental Mali or an unconscious Mali and was not penalized because the flag does not have to look like the flag you chose.
That'd be a good episode title.
An accidental Mali, yeah. But
Mali, Margaret, and Madness.
Yeah. Essex Molly versus Margaret Thatcher. We're just mushing all these together.
I like Molly, Margaret, and Madness because of all the M's.
Yes. What's the madness from, though?
It's like just the madness of the whole thing.
I guess. Anyways, scores. Dave is first, Paul is second, Sarah's third, Al is fourth, Rob is last.
Do you want to do Taskmaster Joe?
Yes.
Okay.
Taskmaster Joe.
Go for it.
I gave Dave first because his looks like a flag. It looks really good. And it's also apparently like an actual edible thing. Al's, I would have given him first. I would have given him and Dave joint first, but the amount of food coloring he used and the fact that it now has a taste, I gave him second. Because you definitely could eat an entire meal of rice. Sarah's third, because hers looked like Canada. Paul, I'm giving the next one. Oh wait, hold on. Where did I say Sarah? Did I say Sarah third?
Certainly.
I did not mean to give Sarah third. That's what Greg gave her. I gave Paul third because Paul's looked like a flag, although I wasn't penalizing him for for making Mali, even though he meant Mexico. And then I give Rob and Sarah joint last because theirs didn't look great. because Sarah's didn't look great, and Paul's failed to be not Paul's, Jesus Christ. Rob's failed to be a meal. That's what they were. So yeah, for me, just to keep it in order, Dave, Al, Paul, and then Rob and Sarah. In that order. And then, what would you do, Emerson, for this flag?
I thought, I want to keep this very simple. I would probably like Al, who made a Union Jack. However, what I would have done is I would have tried to make it, with, a very British, meal out of it. As in, like, so, you've been to Wimbledon, right? I've been to Wimbledon once or twice. Have you? I mean, I don't know.
I've never been to the United Kingdom, Emerson.
Oh, okay. You know about Wimbledon, though, right?
Where they play tennis.
Yeah. A big staple of Wimbledon is strawberries and cream.
Okay.
So what I would do is I would take the strawberries and cream, mix them with some raspberries, and then I get some blueberries, and I would lay them out in the appropriate color sections. Can
you do that in half an hour?
I mean, if I get the right ingredients, yeah, sure.
Okay. I'm going to do what everybody should have done and nobody did because nobody thought about this. From 1969 to 2011, the country of Libya was ruled under a dictator named Muammar Gaddafi, who did many, many horrible things, but one of the things he did was that he instituted a new flag for his country. A flag that was a sheet of green cloth and nothing else. The Gaddafi-era Libya flag is one color and nothing else, and it's green.
Okay.
I would have just made it. I would have made that flag. It's been changed now because Gaddafi was deposed and murdered by the people who took over from him. But I would have taken a sheet cake and used green icing or green fondant, and that would have been it.
Okay.
And it would have looked exactly like it.
I mean, it probably would be quite similar to Rob just saying konnichiwa.
No, because it would have been a full thing. It would have been a dessert course, but it would have been a full thing.
All right. I think I like my way more, but oh well. Anyway, the live task. Anchor these balloons using only bread. I don't have a lot of notes on this.
My entire note is description of the task, and then I don't know how to describe this one.
I guess all we can say about it is that Paul loses 2 of his balloons, and Sarah has...
Do you want me to read what the task actually said?
Yeah, sure. Just so that go for it.
The task description is anchor these balloons using only bread. The person with the most fully inflated balloons resting on their mat and held down by bread alone after 100 seconds wins. Which, just to clear up any confusion, there's a bunch of helium balloons and a stack of white sandwich bread. That's it. This is such a weird task, especially to describe, because I watched it and it's like they held down balloons with bread.
Taskmaster wastes a lot of food, I think.
Taskmaster also makes it very hard to describe in an audio format. Honestly, the best way to describe this task would just be to show the task. But it's such, with the sound off, it's not going to change anything. But it's because we're doing this on a podcast, we can't show the video. So it doesn't
Actually, I say Taskmaster wastes a lot of food. What I think, I heard somewhere that they said that for every, for all the bread and, for as much bread and stuff they buy to just, say anchor down balloons,
they donate it?
They'll donate an equal amount to a food drive or something. Which, is good, I guess.
Yeah.
Anyway, Al Murray, anchors down 2 balloons, Paul does 3, Dave 6, Rob 7, and Sarah an impressive 10. And she has an impressive save of one of her balloons too.
Yeah, and everybody actually just sort of started copying her
technique.
Her technique after a while, but it doesn't really do anything.
Fair enough. Anyway, the scores are Sarah 5, Rob 4, Dave 3, Paul 2, and Al 1.
Yeah, and
the winner of this episode is Paul Chowdhury. Very well-deserved victory for Paul Chowdhury, I thought.
And there is a change in the season total leader. Now that is Rob Beckett.
Yeah. 2 episodes to go, Rob is now the man to beat.
And then we also have when Paul actually gets his goes up on stage and claims his prizes, he puts on the light up dreads and starts shouting things in a different language, and I really didn't want to assume that I knew what it was.
I didn't actually get to see that, but I'll check that out after we've done this.
Yeah, you might want to drop that in as a soundbite. I have no idea
we'll
what he was
play it as
saying.
a soundbite right at the very end.
Yep.
Okay, so I think this is a place we can wrap up. Nice and I say nice and short. We're here for about 82
We're here
minutes.
for a tight 1 hour 20, which is honestly...
I mean, with soundbites, who knows how long it'll be, but yeah.
Short. I mean, this is still shorter than just about anything else we've recorded, save the Q&A.
No, I think we had one episode in Series 1 or something that was quite short. I think one clocked in at an hour 14.
Oh, wow. Oh, yeah, no, we did. This is
Our
up there,
episodes
though.
have been getting shorter, and I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing.
I think we've realized that we can't keep doing 2.5-hour episodes and also have a life.
Fair enough. So yeah, will episodes continue to get shorter? I don't know. Maybe if we've got a lot to say or a lot of banter on our mind. I think that's why our episodes have been short as well. Not a lot has been going on in our lives.
Yeah, nothing. I mean,
I've got work, but it's really just the same old thing eventually.
Yeah, and it's like nothing is really happening in the world. I mean, it's like news is occurring, but I don't think our listeners want to hear about, like, the collapse of the government of Afghanistan, which is, like, the only world news that I've got right now.
Yeah.
I mean, and even if they did, we wouldn't, because we don't do politics on this show. Because that's not a way to retain followers at all.
Yep.
So,
indeed.
yeah, that's it. That's it. We are done with this episode, I guess.
I think maybe we could idea for a bonus episode is we just talk for God knows how long about just random non-Taskmaster related stuff.
We should do that at some point.
Yeah.
If you would like to hear us talk about nonsense for ages, please write to us at ytsnpod@gmail.com.
And for now, we will finish with one final soundbite of Paul Chowdhury shouting in another language while wearing dreads. Until next time, I'm Emerson.
And I'm Joe.
And this is Paul Chowdhury. Good night.
Good night.